Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this Ivy and the Inky Butterfly page. We're going to be doing this here today. So it's quite a interesting long, I think it looks like it's a chain with little beads on. That's how I'm going to colour it anyway. We're going to start with the grey and do some silvery touches, and then we'll fill in some colourful bits. So I'm actually going to come in closer because it's quite small. I'm going to come in as close as I can, and I have to try and remember to make sure I move across. So these pieces here I feel are links in the chain. So this is one and this is one, and the centre is empty. That's how I interpret this. You may not, but that's how I'm going to colour them. So I'm going to use the Paynes grey. This is from Castle Art Soft Touch pencils, and I'm going to go in dark near to this bead and then fade it to the centre. So we've got a little white bit there which hopefully looks a little bit shiny to make it look like silver, and then we're just going to do the same on all of these. So once you've got this technique, you can do them all. You can see what I'm doing. I'm really working the colour in here, layering it, and then I'm lifting my pencil off as I go towards that centre so we get a lighter touch. You can do this with pens as well. I've never tried, to be honest, but apparently it works. The sort of lifting it off the page thing. Sticking my tongue out as I go. You don't have to do that. You can't see me, luckily. It's lucky you can't see me anyway. I'm feeling all hot and bothered. I had to give my hands a really good wash. I'd been cleaning the carpet. The balcony railings were put back on, and some sort of lubricant type oil black stuff was used to put the screws in, and somehow it got on the carpet. I don't know how, and I've been cleaning it off with it's coming off bit by bit. I'm gonna have to get back to doing it. The carpet's got quite wet, so I need to leave it to dry out a little bit and then have another go. It'll come out. It'll just take a bit of work. And I'm just looking at these circles and wondering if they'll be silver as well, or whether, I think we'll put some colour in. Let's add in some colour. So if we make that all the silver, I'm looking at what colours we've got. I'm going to start with red. I think red beads, really pretty. This is the red ochre. I think I tried to use this for a different picture, it kept breaking, but I've got a nice point on it from my dowel sharpener. Now with the beads, just checking I'm in shot, which I am, you want to go around the edge in a deeper, more intense colour. So layer it up. Try not to press too hard, just gently layer, and then bring it towards the middle and make it lighter in the centre. If you can. If you can't, you can't. You can use a little dot of white pen if that's easier, but I feel this gives a slightly better effect, but it's tricky, especially when they're small like this. Now the reason I'm saying don't push down hard is because we're overgoing that outside bit over and over, round and round. If you push down hard, you'll find that when you look at the page on the back, you'll have a little mark from where you've pushed down. You don't want that. Although Johanna's paper is very good and fairly thick, you still don't want to risk that. And also, if you're doing it in other books, you don't want to get into the habit of it, because some books have much thinner paper. So it's better to try to just press lightly and let those layers build up without making a big dent in the paper. And it's quite relaxing just doing it nice and slowly. I'll move it across a bit so you can see I'm doing all the plain circles in red. I know they're not all the same size, but that's okay. This one's a bit bigger. This one might be a good one to do first if you're if you want to practice, because it's a little larger. You can always practice this technique on some scrap paper first, but I usually just dive in and go for it. But it depends on your confidence level, really. And I know that some people get scared of spoiling their books and things like that, whereas I've got past that now after all these years of colouring. I'm also confident that I know how to rescue things that are potentially ruined by, let's put you up in the middle a bit. I know that I can put black pen, I can erase, I can do all sorts of things, and get it, improve things, you know. And also, if it looks really terrible, which it never does, then I just learn, you know. But I know it's hard. I'm also lucky because I've got lots of books, and so I know if you've only got a few and you haven't got much money, you don't want to ruin a page because you can't afford to buy a new one. It's tricky. Can you still see? Oh yeah, we're at the end. Oh, anyway, we'll carry on with this red ochre is a more orangey tone of red. I purposely went for this because we've got our gemstones up here, which are, you know, blue and pink and purple. So I thought we would do these in reds and oranges and things so that it was different to those, you know. We want some variation, I think, in the page. You know, sometimes I will use a limited colour palette and I would have wanted it the same as that, but not for this page. We've got a limited amount of colours by having a set of 24 pencils, one of which is white that we probably won't use. So that's quite enough limitation without actually saying, oh, we're just going to use a few colours. So this is our last one of these. Okay, so that's the red ochre. Now we have this one here. Now this looks to me like it's either got a sort of silvery clasp on the end or some sort of pattern, and we've got 3 of these, and I'm just trying to think about what to do, whether to do it as a silvery clasp. I think I will. I'll show you how I would do it. This is the Paynes grey, and I'm going to make it a little darker near the edge and leave the tip white if I can, like that. And we'll do the same on this one. Just bring it a little bit more central. I've seen beads like this, but you may prefer to do it patterns, as you know, brightly coloured. There we go. I'm going to grab my orange. It is the cadmium orange, and I think I'm actually going to do all the rest of the circles in orange because some of them are quite different to each other. So I think it's nice to tie them together a little bit. So the same technique. I mean, I realised this has got a line down the middle as if it might be several colours, but I'm just doing it in the one. Like that. Now this one, to make it look rounded, they're up there and fade towards the middle and do the same in here. And then here and here. Okay. Can we get them all in? Yeah. So here, and then just fade down. Now, of course, there would be some shadow around the edge of these clasps. It's too small for me to worry about that. You know, maybe we could half imagine that the black line is the shadow, or, you know, something like that. You could draw it in if you really want to with a black, but I think it's too small for me to be fiddling like that. So there's those two, and this one again, we do it darker at the bottom, fade towards the centre, darker at the top, fade towards the centre. So all we've got left now are these two lozenge shaped pieces. Now again, you could do them silver as if they're little joining bits, but I think I'm going to do them in yellow. I've got the cadmium yellow here that I think I'm going to use. So I'm going to try and make them darker top and bottom, and a bit lighter in the middle. It's going to be really difficult to see with it being yellow, but I'm just going to trust that I've done it right. It's really dark in here because I've shut the blind because the sun was everywhere. So there we go. So there is that. I'm just going to come out and show you the whole thing. I think, oh, not quite. So there we go. I'm not sure. I think my thumbnail will just be a little portion of this because it's going to look odd if I do the whole thing. But anyway, there's that. But now we've got to do a background for this. We could use the very pale yellow, but we actually used it for our bee. So I'm wondering about a very pale green, just for something different. And I think it will go the leaf green light. Now what I'm going to do is just try and put it on in a nice even amount. It's quite difficult for me to see it. I think if I layer it up a bit more, it'll be easier for me to see. I don't know if it's just me that has this problem with these sort of pale, bright sort of yellows and pale greens, and can't really see whether I've got a good coverage on the paper. Although I don't know if it's just my eyesight, because I do the same when I'm using pens, and then when I look much closer I can see where I've missed. But I find it much harder with yellows and sort of this sort of colour. But I'm doing my best, and you can probably do a neater job than me anyway. Now it's tempting on these pages, because we've got a little background on everything, to maybe do one on the text bit, but I've seen people do it and it looks great. So if you want to, you know, go ahead, but obviously you'll have to colour over the text. Now I think these pencils are fine colouring over. Some pencils, if you colour over black, it can smudge it a little bit, so that's not ideal. I find Polycolour, the Koh-i-Noor ones, do that, and the Prisma blending pencil's terrible for that, but these pencils be fine. But I think I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, I think that's me. You can spend a little longer if you wish. I think the pale yellow might have looked good, but we've already used it. I want to do different colour backgrounds on each one, so that seemed the sort of obvious choice. Right, so that is me now for today. We are very wonky, I think. I'm very bad at, let me see, lining the text up. There we go. See, I've lined the text up at the top, but this now looks wonky, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But anyway, but there we go. Thank you for watching. Have a super day, and pop back tomorrow, and we'll be doing these little leaves on this side. So yeah, have a good day and happy colouring.